What's shaking? This is Matty Crypto. Welcome to the Pulsechain podcast. This is episode number 4. This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to create a podcast basically on the foundation of Pulsechain, Hex, and this community, and just let people know what's available out there. Pulsechain is going to be the disrupting force in crypto. This is going to be something special in 2022. I had the pleasure of sitting down with Jesse, the pit boss, last week, and we talked about liquid loans and what it was. We'll touch on that in this episode as well, just briefly, and I'll get Haunted to tell you about a strategy that I'm going to try to poke some holes in, but I just told him a few minutes ago in the green room that I have a hard time poking holes in this. So without further ado, this is Haunted. Welcome to the Pulsechain podcast, man. I really appreciate your time, and thanks for being here.
Not a problem, man. Love to be here.
So
the community's been wonderful.
It is, man. This is. I've said this for 2 years now, that Hex and Pulsechain is by far the greatest community of people that I've been in, and I've been in crypto for almost a decade. And it's almost odd to have such a great community, because I take it for granted in talking to people in Pulse and Hex. And if I break out of that little bubble that we're in with just such friendly, knowledgeable people, and I talk to other people who are in Bitcoin or Solana or Ethereum, that connection to that community is not nearly as close and tight knit. Do you have that feedback as well when you talk to other people that are not in Hex?
Yeah, people that are in Hex aren't really, they're not in a community. They're just mainly people just holding on an exchange, and they might be in little groups talking about, what's happening next, but nothing like the community, the Hex community. They're we're locked in. So most of them are 5555, and they're there forever, and they're there to help each other, make people understand what Hex is about. Hex is a beautiful contract. It is. It has a magic behind it.
There, everybody I talk to in Hex and Pulse, it's we surround ourselves with really good people, like-minded people who have been through crypto before, and I think we understand. And we don't take for granted how important this community is and how big it is. I look at Twitter every day, and I talk to other people who aren't in Hex and Pulsechain, and there is a difference. There's a difference with the camaraderie and the friendships and how people really care about each other. I've told people numerous times in previous podcasts is how the feeling of not feeling everybody around you is always trying to pump their bags just to dump on your head. It's not like they got into a crypto or some other kind of crap coin, and then they're just waiting for the price to go up, talk good things about it, and then dump it so they can get out and move on to the next one. This community, like you're saying, we're locked in 5555. And for those that don't know what that is, that's a 15-year stake. It's something we all talk about in Hex, locking up your Hex for T-shares for 15 years and getting that. So that the longest you can have a stake is 5,555 days. So we're in this a long time together. And I'm just excited, man. Every day I wake up and I'm excited because we have something in common that we all talk about and we share. I mentioned I've been in crypto for 10 years. I've had tons and tons of failures. And I just talked to you a couple of minutes ago. I was going to have you share a little bit of your background, your crypto story, so people could be introduced to you before we, kind of dive into the Haunted strategy. But you told me something kind of funny. I'd love for you to share your crypto history with people.
I've been in DeFi side for just a little over 1 year. I was in a couple of soft rugs or rug pools, depending on how you look at it. But I used that as an experience of to learn how DeFi works and smart contracts. And I went into a deep dive. And then I found Pulsechain, and then I found Hex. It was just I learned from my mistakes, and I went from there. And then I found Richard Hart and watching his videos, and found that everything that I learned from my mistakes were what he was teaching. Immutable contracts, keyless, things like that. And I was like, well, that's why I figured out why I got rugged, because they changed the contract on me and did what they wanted. So I grew from there, and I just went all in to Hex.
It's so fascinating, man, because on one side of the coin, this is new to you, and it's got to be so much to absorb. My first year in crypto, it was crazy. It was the wild west, but you didn't have any background, you didn't have any infrastructure and YouTube videos and people you can talk to. It basically was just Bitcoin. And then like you're saying, these soft rugs, these rug pulls, and all the ICO stuff we had to go through in 2017. And even that to me feels like it's recent because I had to endure, 2012, 13, 14. I just didn't know what was going on. But by
Yeah.
that 2017 bull run and Bitcoin's going crazy, 20,000 then was nuts. But also on the other side, you got into Hex early as one of your first crypto projects because you've only had a year in this. So you're so fortunate to have found the pinnacle of crypto. This is what DeFi is. Hex is DeFi. So do you ever pinch yourself wondering how lucky you are to have found Hex in this community, like the best crypto so early in your life where you don't have to go through years and years of stress and failures?
Oh yeah. Yeah, 100%. I'm just I'm grateful for what I found. Like it could have been, some people still don't even know about Hex, and some people don't even know about crypto. I was just speaking to someone, and they're like, "What's this crypto?" I'm like, She goes, "What's this new thing called crypto?" I'm like, "It's been around for longer than 10 years." And yeah, some people don't even know what crypto is. So we've got to spread the word, teach people about crypto, and teach people about DeFi and how it works, the important parts of DeFi.
Yeah. I mean, it's so valuable. And again, we're lucky because over the last years and years, we've learned from so many people's mistakes in the past, and we can really hone in and focus on Hex and Pulsechain and this community and what is Pulsechain gonna produce in the future. And man, I think about this on a daily basis also of how lucky we are to have Richard Hart at the helm. The CEO, the founder, the person that takes the slings and arrows for the community for 2 years. And I talk about to close friends of mine, they wonder, how come he streams so much? He's got such a big following. He's out there all the time. Is he trying to make more money? Is he trying to pump his bags? And the answer to that stuff is no. He doesn't have ads on his YouTube videos. One of the great things about him, he doesn't have to do these things for us. But out of all the cryptos, thousands and thousands of cryptocurrencies out there, he's the only one I see, the only founder or CEO or head of any project that's out so much in front of the camera, on YouTube, on Twitter, talking to us, saving us from ourselves, warning us about problems and issues in crypto. I've never experienced that with any other crypto being so much at the forefront of a community and just driving this bus. It really is something that's unheard of in crypto.
Yeah, 100%. He's always up there. He's always teaching us stuff, teaching us what's important. One thing that when I was watching Richard Hart, is one of his streams, he was, he's usually back then when he was, he had all his language and whatnot. He was, swearing, and I looked past that, and he was saying, "Get off your computers, do something, and be productive." And Hex is the perfect productive thing. You stake it, you leave it, and it's not even something you have to worry about. Like you go buy, an example, Cardano, you're going to sit there and is going to drop on me 50%. Where you're locked in for 10, 2 years, 15 years in Hex, you don't care what the market is doing. You only care when it comes due. And even when it comes due, you can skim off the interest and stake the rest for 15 years or whatever you want to do. It gives you a better life, and that's what's good about it. And that's why the community are always together, because they want to help people. They learn from Richard Hart, and they want to help other people. The community is probably one of the most important things when it comes to Hex. We come together, we help each other out, teach people about security, like Papa Bona on Telegram. We want to help people out as much as we can and tell them to do the right thing. And that's what's important.
Yeah, I mean, it's so valuable. You almost can't put a price tag on how valuable that is. When I'm talking to all the people in Hex, I don't really realize how great this is, because these are people like yourself and Papa. They're volunteering their time, just countless hours of videos and in Telegram chats, just there to answer questions and help people. And the only thing that we're getting from this is the satisfaction that one more person is getting into Hex and Pulsechain and can literally change their lives. And when I use that kind of hyperbolic language, it's almost like an automatic, oh, it's a flag, it's a scam, it's got to be something odd. So I'm constantly pulling back the language I use to friends or people that I introduce to crypto, because it almost sounds too good to be true saying what a great community this is, what a great founder we've got. And this is true DeFi. The Hex and Pulsechain is what you should be in. It feels like I'm trying to sell someone a bill of goods, and I'm like a used car salesman. I'm going to get something out of this, but I'm not getting anything out of this. The only thing I'm trying to get out is to save people from what they're doing now and to get into something better. And as you mentioned early in Richard's YouTube career, before we was even talking about crypto, he talked about how to be a better person and quit gambling and stop trading. And I'm going to mention that in a future podcast, because he got me to stop trading and wasting thousands and thousands of dollars. So, I don't know how we can fine tune the vocabulary, the verbiage, how we introduce people, but it does seem like it's too good to be true, but it's not. You just said that, when you stake Hex, you can kick back and not have to worry about it. I take that always back to saving me from myself. Hex countless times has saved me from selling my Hex as the price appreciation goes up. I was staked long term, so I didn't have the option to sell. And now when I see the price go up, I'm like, thank goodness that I was staked, and he created such an amazing product that we don't have to worry about prices. We don't have to stare at a chart all day. And it really is something amazing. And I don't know if it's in any other crypto. We're so fortunate to be in this situation where we don't have to worry about the price and we can just relax.
That's it. And now we've got Pulsechain.
Yeah.
Pulse.
Gosh, man, this is going to be great.
It's starting all over again.
It is. I was talking to a friend of mine today, early this morning, about unstaking one of my stakes in Hex, and it was a fairly small stake. I think was about, I don't know, $1,000 or something. I mean, hell, that was a lot to me, honestly. And the price to unstake it on the Ethereum blockchain was over $700. It just, I just got to sit there and let it bleed. So you're right, man. Pulsechain is coming, and it's going to solve a lot of the problems that we're in now. Can you imagine a few months after Pulse has launched, and you got liquid loans and all these things, maybe a fiat on-ramp, and we don't have to worry about this anymore, the nightmare that was Ethereum.
Ethereum can be done and dusted, but we still have Hex on Ethereum, which I still think is going to do very well. The smart contract still works exactly the same. And people who take that to their advantage might make a lot of money.
I agree, man. I got excited talking to you. We're looking at, over 10 minutes into this, so we haven't even gotten to liquid loans or this haunted strategy. And I really want people to take a lot from this video and really kind of dial into what Haunted is going to talk about. It's a specific strategy that is on the Pulsechain blockchain that will be on there maybe just a little bit after Pulsechain is launched, to kind of find some kind of stability in the price. Liquid loans is going to launch, and then we can do this strategy. But liquid loan can play off the success of Pulsechain and Hex. And over the last 2 years, Hex it's got a proven track record of not only excellence in uptime, which is 100%, but also the price performance. Thousands of people now understand Hex and the upcoming Pulsechain, but we live in this bubble, and we take for granted knowing about Hex and Pulse. But for most people, this is news. So I'd love for them to hear this in a simple way, explained, if you can, Haunted.
I'll do my best.
People can kind of digest it and be ready to get involved once it goes live. I'd like for you, if you can, really briefly, just explain kind of what liquid loans is first, and then we can get into the strategy that you have.
Sure. Liquid loans is a smart contract that helps you never sell your asset. So liquid loans, what attracted me to liquid loans, I'll let you know what attracted me. The very first thing was you never have to sell to extract the value. And the second I heard that, I was like, I'm in. That's all I want to know. Imagine holding Ethereum, Binance, Polygon, Cardano, all of them when they launched, and you didn't have to sell to take profits. And that to me was like, yep, I'm in 100%. The never selling part was bang. I was sold on that. I said to myself, now look into it and find out what it's about, and see if it will work. And I went in deep dive with Jesse, and the more I learned about liquid loans, the more I was like, man, this is unbelievable. What more could I ask for? So just to keep it simple, liquid loans is it's going to be launched on Pulsechain. It's going to use Pulse as its collateral. So you put your Pulse in your vault, and then you can extract value. You can mint stablecoin, so you can go spend it wherever you want. You can put it into a stability pool. You can buy Hex and do Hex stakes. You can buy Pulse X if you like, and you can do my strategy. There are many other strategies. There's many things you can do with liquid loans, but the magic is that it's locking in some Pulse and your Pulse, so that way when the price goes up, you just keep extracting value. Keep yourself at a safe collateral. There are risks involved if you don't want to get liquidated using liquid loans. The risk would be that if you put yourself 110% collateral, which is about 90% of what you put in. So you had 100,000, you put 90,000, or you extracted 90,000 of USDL. You get liquidated, your Pulse is gone, but you still keep your stable coin. If you don't want to get liquidated, keep yourself at a safe collateralized rate, which I personally say to people 1,000%, which is always only take out 10% of your loan.
Okay. And people, if it seems kind of above your head, you can go back to the previous episode of the Pulsechain podcast where I sat down for an hour with Jesse, the pit boss. And I think he's head of the ground and adoption for liquid loans. So he really understands his stuff. You can really dig into that and understand it at a base level. Like, what exactly is liquid loan? If you can, break it down for us, man. Let's learn about what the hardened strategy is. And
my computer slowed down for some reason. Can you see that there?
I can see it great.
Yep.
And for people who are maybe not watching this, just audio format, this is just basically how to use the hardened strategy. It's a real basic edition. So
as basic as it gets. So like I said, the magic about liquid loans is that you lock in your Pulse and you can extract value, and you can make yourself some stable coins. So with the haunted strategy, you can you start with your Pulse coin, and then you connect to the DApp of liquid loans, and you deposit your Pulse, and then you can choose what collateral you want to mint. So say you want to mint 10% of your value, which is 1,000% collateral. So we'll keep it at round numbers. You put $100,000 in there, you extract 10,000 USDL out, and now you have $10,000 worth of USDL sitting in your wallet. You have your 100,000 sitting in a vault to keep the value pegged. So the USDL is always pegged to $1. There's always more Pulse locked than what is minted in the Pulse chain. And then from there, so what we're doing is we're using 10% of our loan. We're going to go to PulseX and swap that to buy more Pulse. And with that Pulse, we put it back into our vault, which then will keep ourselves at a better collateralized rate. So that 1,000% will now move to our very first loan, only the first loan, will now move to 1,100% collateral. From there, we did deposit our Pulse into our vault. Now we wait for the price to move up 10%. It doesn't have to be 10%. It's just that just keeping the numbers round. We wait for the price to move up 10%. We buy more Pulse, and we keep our loan 10% of what we've locked in, our locked in value. So now we had 110,000 in our vault, dollar value, locked in our vault. We wait until that moves up 10%, and then we take a loan of 10% of that total locked value. And then we buy more Pulse and we put it back into our vault, and then rinse and repeat. So it is complicated, but once you understand how it works, it's fairly easy. It is easy. So you lock in your vault, you lock in your value, you make yourself some stable coin, you buy Pulse, put it back into the vault, and then when the price goes up, you extract more stable coin, keep your collateral at 1,000%, and buy more Pulse and do the process again. You only do this when the price is at all-time high. and you rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. When the price does dip below from the last time you took a loan, you just sit and wait. You may have to wait a week, you may have to wait a month, you may have to wait 3 months, depending on the price of Pulse. But once it goes back to all-time high, you do this whole process again. And what that does is it brings in buy pressure and pushes the price up higher and higher. Okay, so for the people who are watching, I'll try to explain it for the people who are just listening. This section here is the most important section here. Collateral ratio, 1000%. You only take a loan when this is above 1000%. So when it's sitting at 1,200, 1,100, 2,000, you take a loan, you bring it back down to 1,000%. You mint a stable coin, you buy Pulse with it, and you put it back into your vault. Done.
What are we looking at right here, Haunted? Is this the actual app that will be available?
Correct. So this will be the front end of Liquid Loans. So liquidloans.io, this will be the front end. This is what you'll see. And so it will tell you how much, if you want to deposit more Pulse, you can click here max, you can max it, or you can just choose what you want. It will borrow the USDL. And once you borrow it, you hit confirm, you'll find some USDL in your wallet, sitting in your wallet. So we're minting the stable coin from the collateral that we lock in.
Is there a reason other than just to keep things basic why you like the 10% thing? As it goes up 10%, you make your move. Is there something that's a possibly better percentage, or was that? I'm just curious how you came up with the 10%.
For the price that moves up, you have to write a number down so the Excel sheet can you can show what will happen. You can do it every 5%, you can do it every 4%, you can do it every 15%. That doesn't matter. That was just the number I set. Some people might do it every 5% or 3%, or just whenever they jump online, they see that they'll come onto the DApp, they'll be like, yep, it's 1,100. I'm taking a loan and minting some stable coin. They see it at 1,050, they'll take a loan, buy more Pulse and put it back into their vault. So they're just compounding faster.
Okay. Now, is there, like, let's say you take out your first loan and you take out that loan in Liquid Loans. They require I think it's a $200 fee. Is that correct?
Yes. It's a reserve. So what that reserve is if you get liquidated, the person who presses that button gets a reward of 200 USDL, and the reason for that is it's incentivizing people to press that button, so that way it keeps the system healthy. People who have taken out loans and the system and the collateral is lower than 110%, it doesn't help, or it keep the peg for the USDL may drop. So it's just keeping the system healthy. Some people might intentionally want to get liquidated. They take out a loan, they want to get liquidated because they think the price is going to drop and they want to buy more Pulse with the stablecoin that they minted at a better price. I don't recommend it. I'd rather never sell my Pulse. I'd rather never get rid of my Pulse and keep myself at a safe collateralized rate, but that may happen.
Yeah, it's funny you say that you never want to sell your Pulse. I feel that way too. And Liquid Loans combined with this strategy, we never ever have to sell our Pulse. You mentioned low collateral. The lowest you can go with the Liquid Loans is 110% of your loan. So what Honda was saying here, I just want to kind of hit this again, that his collateralization, it does seem high when you're talking about 1,000%, when the lowest you need to get in to make a loan is 110%. Can you explain why it's more beneficial to have a high percentage collateralized as opposed to that 110, and why that 110 is dangerous?
So if you took a loan at 110 and the price just moved back 0.5% or moved back anything, you may get liquidated. You most likely will get liquidated, and then that Pulse then goes to the people who are in the stability pool. You still keep your stable coin, but you lose that 10%. So that 10% is that buffer that you may lose. It's not recommended. People may have strategies where they'll do that to gain more Pulse, or they just simply want out, and that's it, and they're done with it. But if you go 1,000%, it needs to drop. The price of Pulse needs to drop 89.9 or something very close to that number percent for you to get liquidated. So
Wow.
it needs a big drop. Yeah.
Yeah, 90% is huge. I was talking to Jesse last week about that, and it's almost unheard of for a cryptocurrency to drop 90% quickly. It usually takes days and sometimes weeks
Yeah.
to drop 90%. That's a big drop, especially with something that's so valuable and attractive like Pulse and what Pulse is going to be. We have options with this. As it dumps,
Yes.
we have a safe haven. We can put this Pulse away, have it working for us in these loans, and we don't have to worry about sell pressure. I had some notes about dumping, and many times tokens will have these big dumps. They're not uncommon. This is part of the game. For instance, BNB, they dropped 70%. Bitcoin and Ethereum have dropped over 50%. And what if there was a loan protocol like we have with liquid loans and the Honda strategy you have? You won't have to have the sell pressure when the price drops, because people can use the value to get a loan and not sell their Pulse. All those other tokens, they won't go to sell pressure, which will make that dip percentage lower. If you don't have to sell, we won't have such drastic drops like in other cryptos. If you had the option not to sell, and people love to take profit, and I actually encourage taking profit, but what if instead of having to sell your assets to take profit, to realize that profit, you could instead take a loan out on your asset and take some profit that way and still be able to enjoy price appreciation and get your full token amount back after you pay off your loan, you get it back. So there's so many positive, good points about liquid loans and this strategy that I think keeps us safer. If I'm someone and I see the price dumping and it's tanking 50, 60, 70%, I've got the option now to put more Pulse into the system, into my loan, to kind of prop up that collateralization. How does that work if I see the price tanking and I want to add something back to the loan?
So all you got to do is go to the front end of liquid loans, connect it, and then just add more Pulse to your vault, and you're done. So it gives yourself a safer collateralized rate, or you can pay off some of your loan. Either. You can choose which one you want to do. Talking about never selling, I'll tell you a story that I heard on Telegram once in the main chat of Pulsechain. There was a guy who said that he sold some Hex to buy a washing machine. And now that washing machine is worth millions of dollars because he sold. That's the same amount of Hex that he sold that to buy that washing machine is worth millions of dollars right now. Now imagine he took a loan and he borrowed from liquid loans, and he bought that washing machine. He would look at, and the price just went up and up and up and up and up. You will look at that washing machine and say that cost me nothing, because I'm still extracting value from the same value of Pulse. So also we hear the story about the pizza, the guy who sold 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas, and now he's looking back going to himself, I just got money, 600 I think, or $600 million at the peak of Bitcoin. That's how much that is, 10,000 or 59 BTC. Or 58, whatever it was. That's how much that is 2 pizzas cost. 650 million.
Unbelievable.
So imagine he took a loan on that, and he never had to sell to buy that pizza. Like, that's a lot of money. Once you sell, and if because we believe that Pulsechain, most people believe, and most likely will, because it's a native token on a blockchain. They all go up, all of them. You see them. You see all of them do 250%, 300%, 1,000%, and plus, right? Ethereum did 1,300%, maybe a little bit more. And imagine we didn't sell that. We didn't sell it when it got to 100x to pay some bills or to buy a washing machine, and we just took a loan out and bought that washing machine. So that washing machine is now still working for me. It's still going up in value, and it wouldn't have to bother me. So that's the magic about liquid loans. That sell pressure is removed, and now we're buying what we want in our life. We don't have to sit there and say, "Oh, I don't want to sell because it might go up," or you're forced to sell because you needed the money, that is gone. You can just keep yourself at a safe collateralized rate, and just keep going, keep extracting value, and buy yourself a nice car. That guy that sold the pizza, the 10,000 Bitcoin for a pizza, would have bought so many cars, so many houses, and it would have just kept on going on and on. 550 mil.
Generational wealth for his family.
That's it. But it cost him 2 pizzas. So imagine it didn't have to cost him 2 pizzas, and you can keep extracting that value. That's the magic of never selling. And now you're removing sell pressure from the market.
That's a great point.
Need to sell.
The fact that there's so little sell, or there probably will be so little sell pressure once people understand these strategies, because at the time you're talking about the pizza thing, or they didn't have the option for something like this. You couldn't have done that. We just waiting for Bitcoin to go up, and we hit your price appreciation, the point that you want to sell, you get out, and then inevitably you regret that, because like you're talking about, the price goes up and the price goes up. That wash machine is now worth thousands and thousands of possibly millions. So to relieve the sell pressure, that's one of the greatest things about liquid loans.
Yep, I agree. There was a father who bought some Hex for his son. He was a young kid, and he goes to his dad. He explained to him, "This is your Hex. This is yours. You do what you want." He went up to his dad and goes, "Dad, it's gone up in value. I want to buy myself a laptop." And he goes, "Are you sure?" He goes, "Yep." Okay, he did that. Now he's going to teach his son about never selling, because he goes to him, "Do you know that laptop cost you now X amount of dollars if you didn't sell?" That kid may understand what the value of liquid loans is more than anybody, because he sold some to go buy himself a laptop. And if he works out how much his Hex is worth now, he's probably saying to himself, "I wish I never sold." And he will understand more than anybody what liquid loans and the power of liquid loans is for yourself and the community.
Yeah, man, it puts it home at such an innate, tangible level when you look back, even at Hex. I remember in the adoption amplifier, the first few, weeks, you could buy 1,000,000 Hex for, I think it was $125. And I was looking at that. That is crazy. That the price appreciation from then, this is just 2 years ago. That imagine having 1,000,000 Hex right now. It's going to be the same thing with Pulse. You mentioned layer 1 cryptos, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and now Pulse. We're going to have the native token Pulse on the premier blockchain in crypto, I think. And now we're going to have liquid loans for that, this haunted strategy, put that to work for us. And if you want to buy a laptop or the wash machine or whatever, you can take that loan out, use your Pulse, take a loan out, get USDL, which is a stable coin, buy whatever you need to, or hold that dry powder, that USDL. If Pulse takes a dip, you can take that stable coin, you can buy more Pulse, or as the price appreciation goes up, if you bought that laptop and the Pulse price goes up, now your bag is worth more. That loan, you can pay it back so much easier because you still have your Pulse. And that, I don't think people really grasp how awesome that is to have some USDL if you need it, and also be able to get that Pulse back when you pay off your loan. And you got to enjoy that ride of price.
Let's run the numbers, right? Say you put $1,000 down, and the price of Pulse does a double, and it's gone to $2,000. You sold that to go buy yourself a laptop, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now Pulse does a double again. That laptop cost you $4,000. It did a double again. It cost you $8,000. It doubled again. It cost you $16,000. It doubled again. It cost you $32,000. Again, 64, 128, 256, 512, 512,000. Yeah, 512,000. 1 mil, and 2 mil, and then 4 mil, and then 8 mil, and then 16 mil. It just keeps going on and on and on and on. And like, if you did sell that Hex in the beginning or Pulse in the beginning, and it does do that chart, that $2,000 laptop is going to cost you a lot of money. But if you took a loan and bought that laptop is now because you ever sold, it's you've extracted from that laptop because it's never sold. There's now you have 8 million. You never could have. You would have had 8 million. You still have 8 million and the laptop just from
Wow.
that. That's it.
And how
Look,
painful would that be if you buy the laptop or whatever you do, and then you take $1,000 worth of Pulse instead of doing liquid loans or any of this stuff? You just take your Pulse, you get it out of the system. You're gonna watch every one of those doubles because you probably still got some more Pulse, and you got to watch the price of whatever you bought go up and up and up. And now we have the option. So when people understand this and grasp this strategy and liquid loans and what you're talking about with a haunted strategy, when thousands of people realize I don't have to sell, where is the sell pressure going to be? It's going to be beautiful to watch this kind of unfold, how few people will sell and how many people will lock into this loan and just keep their pulse.
Yeah, exactly. Just the more people who are educated about the power of never selling, and what I request everybody to do is go look at every native blockchain or the major ones like Polygon, Binance, even go to the new ones like Phantom, Solana. I can't remember my brains. There's many out there. Just go look at the top 10 and see what their charts have done. And if you sold in the beginning, what would have happened? And the people who do not have Pulse yet, don't think you're out. It's a beginning. Hasn't even launched yet. Go buy yourself some Pulse and hold it. Go buy yourself some Pulse and hold it. Wait until it appreciates in value, and then either there's a lot of things you can do to use liquid loans to grow your bag, or don't have to sell, and let that grow. Just let that grow and never sell. Extract value. Buy yourself a car. Buy yourself a house. Buy yourself a house for your kids. Buy yourself something nice for your wife or your family. Generational wealth. And if we eventually do what Bitcoin did in 15 years, we're going to have a lot of money there.
One of the stages of the strategy you're talking about, at the stage of waiting for the price to appreciate again, to get that 10%, let's say I'm at that stage and you want to take another loan out when it appreciates at 10% again. Is that considered part of the first loan, or each time you take out that 10% bump, is it a completely different loan?
So what I'll do is I'll have account 1 for the haunted strategy and account 2 to loan the dip. So I'll always have a second bag. So when the value does go down, this Pulse hasn't hit the vault yet. I'll put it into the vault and I'll loan the dip and push up the price. So now I'm gaining value from the top, and I'm gaining value from the bottom for my second account. You can't have two accounts. You can't have two vaults on one account. So you just got to have two accounts. The second account will loan the dip and push up the price.
Okay, that's really important for people to understand. It's a key component about this. You can only have one liquid loans associated per each wallet.
One
correct?
vault, correct. One vault.
Okay, one vault. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, people may get confused with that. When we're talking about vault, that's basically taking the Pulse you have and you're putting it into that vault, and you can have a loan from the value of that Pulse. Correct?
Correct. You become your own bank. So now you've put yourself some collateral, and you can take out a loan whenever you want. You've become your own bank. You're the collateral. You're the person who's taken a loan, and you're your own. You've become your own bank now. You got to keep the collateral safe. Like if banks don't keep their system healthy, they fall apart and they shut shop. So you got to yourself keep your system healthy. Make sure you're in safe collateralized rate, and take care and do what you want. Don't go sit there and take out a 110% collateral ratio and take out a loan. If you wanted to keep it, keep yourself safe, educate yourself, always educate yourself. Go do a deep dive, learn as much as you can, and then get into it. Do not just get into it blindfolded. Do your homework. That is very important, so you can understand what you're doing.
It's great advice. If I'm going to play like a devil's advocate, is there any possible downside to the haunted strategy? I mean, besides obviously getting liquidated in the worst case scenario, but for people looking at this, it just seems like good news, good news, good news. All these possibilities seem great. Is there any other possible things that you may see that could happen that could possibly maybe mess up this strategy?
I'll say that you see the chart and it spikes up really, really high, right? if it, like say you had one big candle that went up 50% or 100%, and then you've taken a loan out and you bought some Pulse and you put into your vault, and then it just goes straight back down. So if it spikes too fast, I won't take a loan. I won't take a loan out there. I'll wait until it settles back. I'll always look at the history of what it's done, and if the history shows that it spikes up and then comes back down, I'll wait until it settles. Even though I'm still above that 1,000% collateral, I'll wait until it settles, and then take my loan.
Okay, so that's actually a great strategy that you may not think about. Like for me, if you wouldn't have told me that and I didn't understand that and know it or hear about from somebody, I may be sitting at my waiting for that 10% number. Every time I see it go up, whether it's 5 or 10%, you just pick your figure. If there's a spike like you're talking about, it pops up to 12, 13%, I may get excited really quick and go to another loan. So what you're talking about is one more fail safe for us.
Yeah, so 13% is okay, but if you see a quick big spike like 20, 30%, I'm more 30, 50%, that's when you got to be careful. Just always look at the history, and if you see a spike, it usually comes back down. You see a spike and it usually comes back down. Then you just wait for it to settle, then take the loan. If you generally see a spike and then it moves sideways, you're safe. Say it's done that about 5 times, you're cool. But if you usually see a spike and it comes back down, always wait for it to come back down, then take the loan.
Okay, man,
it's something that because there's no chart there to tell you what's going to happen. But once there is a chart and you can see what generally happens, we can tell people, we can educate people. This is what happens most of the time. And if it does rhyme, the next time it does this, it most likely will come back down. You take the loan, and so on and so forth. So we just got to wait to see what happens from there.
We almost need a track record to kind of go on a little bit. This is all uncharted territory as far as the Pulsechain. It's a brand new blockchain. It's a brand new native token. All the assets you had on Ethereum, the entire system chain. I think it's one of the most fascinating things about Pulsechain is the entire system state of Ethereum is getting forked over, and you get a copy. So even if you haven't heard about Pulsechain, or you may not be quite interested in Pulsechain and not tuned into this community, just having a duplicate copy, having that other side of the liquidity from Ethereum being pushed over, and you get that for free, that's got to seem really beneficial to people to at least take a look. If you take a little peek at Pulsechain just because of that, you may then understand the value of Hex. So I think people that may not have heard about Pulsechain now, once it launches, and like we're talking about getting a track record and have the price kind of settle where it is, you may look and go, wow, this is the first time I've heard of Pulsechain. I've got my ETH, a copy of that, or my SHIB tokens or whatever. Having that over here is going to get eyeballs on Pulsechain and hopefully introduce them to other things about Pulsechain.
Yeah, that's it. So say even say like someone learnt about it later and they said, hey, someone said, go look at Pulsechain and look at your copy tokens that you have over there. And they've jumped on there, and some of those ERC20s are now sitting at 0. Just say for argument's sake, or very low, right? He's still advertised, like it's still pushed him to go look at Pulsechain, connect his MetaMask to Pulsechain, and then have a look, and then people understand that it's a new network. Look at the fees. Look at start playing around. Look around. What is there? What is on there? What can I buy? So even if their ERC20s, say they learned about it 6 months down the track, and the ones that they're actually holding are now 0, they're still going to have a look and see what's going on, and then find that the fees here are cheaper. Find out what's going on. What should I buy? What can I buy? And then it becomes a new playground for them. So there's no negative in even if they learn about it later, because they're still looking at Pulsechain.
Yeah, man, you touched on it too. It's faster, it's cheaper. It's probably going to be a more stable, because anything Richard Hart creates, it's insanely stable. You can't get much more stable than Hex. It's 100% uptime, which is, it's so fascinating to think about that. How, people have hated on Hex and just basically waiting and praying for some kind of imaginary rug pull. When I tell people that this is what, when I first heard about DeFi and then learned about Hex, this is what true DeFi was to me. And now we're adding Pulsechain, and the ecosystem is only going to grow. Hopefully in time, we're going to get fiat on ramps. And It's beautiful, man. We're in such a valuable place right now, just before Pulsechain launches, and to have Pulse X, and exchange, and liquid loans, this haunted strategy. I feel so blessed and so thankful to be in this early. I feel sorry for people who don't know anything about this and are going to hear about this a year from now and wonder, like, how come the people I heard about on YouTube, these guys I follow, how come they didn't tell me about Hex? How come they didn't tell me about Pulsechain and get me ready for this? Because we are pre-viral even today. Hex is 2 years old. I think it's still pre-viral, but we're just so early. I'm so thankful. And I appreciate you, man. Your time is valuable. You've been a really good asset to the community. I think people have learned so much from this. And if you get into this and understand liquid loans and this haunted strategy, you may have saved people literally with the time and effort you put into this strategy of selling their Pulse early. They may have got Pulse cheap. They may have sacrificed for Pulse, and they may be in this for a month or two and see the price, have our two doubles or five doubles. It may go up, 10x. And then these people would have sold if they didn't learn about this haunted strategy. So I think you're going to single-handedly save a lot of people from selling their Pulse.
It's the power of never selling is magic. And then what you can do with that as well, Hex, go buy some Hex, go buy some Pulse X. There's a lot of things you can do with that, and that's what it's just. Pulse is going to be amazing. That's it. It's hard to say. It's just like as in to comprehend how amazing Pulse can be when you remove that sell pressure and add more buy pressure. Whether it was a dip, people learning the dip, or people buying the tops, it's going to look amazing. The chart, I don't know. I don't know. It's just,
I can't thank you enough for giving me your time, giving the community your time, being a part of the Pulsechain podcast. This is a brand new ride for me. I'm really excited to see people learn about Pulsechain and get people into this, at its very infancy. But if I wanted to reach out to you and have some questions, how can I find you?
Liquid Loans Telegram, Magic Carpet Ride Telegram. I'm mainly just on Telegram. I have Twitter, but you're best if you want to contact me. We can have a voice there in Liquid Loans chat. You can ask questions in the chat. If I'm not available, there are many people that can help with that. There's Magic Carpet Ride 369. They have a Telegram as well. I'm always there. I'm always on. People think I never sleep. I do sleep, but I'm always there helping the community.
It might be the most valuable thing that we have in Hex and Pulse is the community and how selfless people are. I mean, I mentioned it before. Anytime you want to learn about this, you can feel confident to go to Telegram and Twitter, DM people, reach out to people. They give their time freely, and there's no ulterior motive. All we want to do is have you into something that we know is going to have a great history. We want people to be in early so we can all enjoy this together, man. When I smile and someone else smiles and we see these price appreciations that people are retiring from work and having, their time back, it really makes me happy. So again, man, I appreciate you being here, Haunted. Thanks for your time and thanks for coming up with this strategy. This is going to be a vibrant time for us, man. I appreciate you and thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. And letting people or educating people about liquid loans and the strategy. But the most important thing I think in this whole podcast is never selling. That's the most important part.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And it's important you say that, because that's one of the things I was going to close with is don't sell your Pulse. Instead, consider using this haunted strategy. Over collateralize 1,000%. Get your USDL, use it for whatever you desire. Get what you want. And when the price goes up with Pulse, when the price goes up and it appreciates, you can pay down your loan and you can actually get your Pulse back. If you had sold your Pulse, like we're talking about here, for a stable coin or any other kind of crypto, you're going to never have the chance to enjoy that price appreciation, that price rise. And Pulse is going to have that. Just like Pulse, Hex, liquid loans is a finished product. It's immutable. It can't be changed. It doesn't have any kind of owner or governance. There's no admin keys. The entire protocol is done automatically via the smart contract, which is in itself unchangeable. So big thank you to Haunted, the guys at Liquid Loans, people at Pulse, Richard Hart. This is an incredible time to live. I'm so thankful. Thank you all for listening to this podcast. This is the 4th episode of the Pulsechain podcast. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. This is Matty Crypto, and on behalf of Haunted, have a fantastic day, and I will catch y'all on the B side.